Details about the Hustler Fund and of course the business diary. Good morning, Githaiga. What should we expect today?
Good morning. Basically, today everybody's talking about the Hustler Fund, and it goes to what Asha was talking about, the 14 days. I think the government erred by not really explaining to people what this fund is all about, because this 14-day loan is the personal finance aspect of it. There are some other parts of this fund that are yet to be launched. That is the loans to SMEs, to businesses, a startup loan. So there's a micro loan, a startup loan, and the main funds are actually not yet launched. This one is a personal finance fund, and the import of this is, if you look at it from a perspective of an individual, most times the greatest shock that you have is you need money for medical care almost immediately. You have an emergency, and this is how most people have ended up borrowing money on all these things. Even Fuliza, when you look at Fuliza, the concept of Fuliza is you are at the supermarket or you are buying something, you don't have enough money, and the app asks you, do you want to Fuliza? So basically what has been launched is the personal finance aspect of it, which is emergency lending, which they project that you'd be able to pay within 14 days. And it also comes with some aspects of it that most people are yet to explore, which is when you borrow 1,000 shillings, they take out about 5% of that, which is about 50 shillings, and then they send it to a savings account for you. So it has some other aspects that are yet to be explored, which we shall explore over time. But the important thing to note here is that the 14-day loan is not targeted mainly at the businesses. It is at the individual. So these are individual loans. However, when they launch the other aspects of this loan is what we'd be interested to see. I'd be really keen on seeing these other products, the ones that are supposed to enable businesses. So how long do these businesses have? It is good enough to say that the interest is 18% per year. So who gets to get the band of repaying this money in a year? So the repayment period is set maybe to increase once they introduce these other funds, and I think that is what the government needs to come out and be clear about, so that people don't think that the fund has been launched and now you only have 14 days to pay. But the other aspects need to kick in. When do they kick in? And in this personal finance aspect they are talking about, so they say that once you borrow, maybe let's say you borrow 1,000 shillings or something like that, 5% of that, the immediate money you borrow, is taken away and put into savings. So they say 70% of it goes to a pension, that's about 35 shillings. Then they say the other 30%, which is about 15 shillings, goes into a short-term savings. So when do I access these short-term savings? Who gets to administer these funds? These are all the questions that will need to be answered over time as people come to understand the fund better.
Yeah, because I'm trying to understand myself, Githaiga. I mean, why should I borrow to save? Does it really make sense?
The reason why you're borrowing is you don't have the savings. I think that's the thinking. The thinking here is that most of the people who are in the informal sector are not on NSSF, they are not on NHIF. So how do you develop savings for this? And the president has been talking about this for quite some time. So I think maybe Kenyans need to start reading the fine print, the terms and conditions, so that when you borrow 50,000 shillings and you are told 5,000 shillings has been removed, where has it gone? What will this 5,000 shillings do? How will this money be allocated? And if you think about it, if people were to borrow the whole fund, let's say 50 billion shillings at a maximum of 50,000 shillings, that's 1 million loans. So you imagine in those 1 million loans, if you say 5% of that fund is going into savings, you can already see that already about maybe 50 million is going into savings. So how will these savings be accessed? When will they be accessed? What statements do you get? How often do you get these statements? At what point can you access these short-term funds? So those are all the questions that we'll have to juggle with in the next couple of days as we try to understand this fund and as we await the launch of the other 3 funds that they are talking about, which is the SME loan, the macro loan, and the startup loan.
All right, it will be interesting to see what happens. Thank you for breaking it down for us. But what else should we expect from the business diary today?
So today, of course, businesses now towards December, they start slowing down. So we should expect to see quite a bit about travel, the travel industry, the tourism sector already saying that bed capacity in Mombasa is already booked towards the 80%, heading on towards the 90% mark. That means a lot of Kenyans are preparing to go on holiday. I suspect quite a number of venues across the city and different places will see things spotting around like bouncing castles, because children are around for the next almost 2 months now. Others are continuing with exams, so there should be quite a lot of holiday related stories, airline bookings, the people looking to go to different destinations. So I think that's what will be driving the business diary today. We'll also be taking a look at access to the internet. The quarter 3 report from the Communication Authority is out. We'll be keen to see the numbers on that. How many subscribers are there? What kind of services are they accessing? Is mobile telephony is calling still a big thing? How big is the number of internet users? That kind of thing. That kind of data now will guide to see quite a bit on what Kenyans have been doing over the last quarter, even in terms of borrowing from things like mobile money.
All right. We will wait and see. Of course, Business Today is the show to watch. Thank you so much, Henry Githaiga, for that. Now, coming back to you, Asha Fox, now that we have a better understanding of the Hustlers Fund, let's now talk